All right, so get ready because today we are diving deep into travel.
Ooh, travel.
You know, I think everyone loves to think about travel, and you've sent us a bunch of sources.
Yeah, you have.
About all things travel, everything from the benefits to the planning.
Yeah.
And even some really cool destinations.
And what I thought was interesting is that a lot of these sources really get into the why of travel.
Yeah. The why not? Just like,
Yeah.
where should I go? Or how should I get there? But like, what's the point?
Exactly. What's the point of even doing this in the first place?
Like one of the sources mentioned this traveler who said that they hadn't realized how much they took their own culture for granted until they went and experienced a totally different way of life.
Oh, wow.
And it like totally shifted their perspective on everything.
Yeah, it really makes you realize that there are so many different ways of living and being in the world.
It's like you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And going out there and experiencing something different can really kind of open your eyes.
And challenge your assumptions.
Yeah, to all sorts of new things.
Totally.
So speaking of new things, let's talk about dream destinations.
Okay, Len.
So many amazing places to visit in the world. And you've sent us sources about some really, really cool ones.
Yeah, and I think there's a good mix here. So, there's got to be something for everyone.
Okay, so first up, the classic Paris.
Of course, Paris.
I mean, you can't talk about travel without at least mentioning Paris.
It's a city of lights.
But your sources actually go beyond like just the Eiffel Tower and, all the typical tourist things.
Right.
And one of them suggests visiting the Musée de la Vie Romantique.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of this?
I have not, no.
So apparently it's this hidden gem in the 9th arrondissement that's dedicated to the Romantic era.
Oh, how cool.
And I love how one of the sources, instead of just being like, oh yeah, explore Le Marais and Montmartre, which everyone tells you to do,
Right.
It actually recommends a specific walking tour that focuses on the secret courtyards and hidden gardens of those neighborhoods.
Oh, that sounds so charming.
I'm already adding that to my list.
Yes.
Okay, so from romantic Paris, let's go to a completely different vibe.
Okay, where are we going?
Japan.
Ooh, Japan.
We've got sources about Tokyo's electric energy, Kyoto's peaceful temples and gardens, that really cool mix of the modern and the ancient.
I love that about Japan.
It's so cool. And one source suggested timing your visit with the Kanemaru Matsuri, which is held every spring in Kawasaki.
Okay, I'm not familiar.
So it's a festival that celebrates fertility and good fortune. And let's just say it's not your typical tourist experience.
Interesting.
I think it really embodies that fascinating mix of tradition and modernity that Japan is so well known for.
Yeah, like you're not going to find this in your average travel guidebook.
Exactly. You got to dig a little deeper.
I love it.
Okay, so last but not least, for dream destinations, we have one that's perfect for the nature lovers.
All right, nature lovers, this one's for you.
This is New Zealand.
Classic.
And your sources describe it as like straight out of a fantasy novel.
I can see that.
Towering mountains, sparkling fjords, those otherworldly geothermal landscapes.
Absolutely. And for the adventurous listener, one of the sources recommends a specific canyon swing.
Whoa.
In Queenstown.
No, thank you.
That plunges you almost 109 yards.
Oh my gosh.
So definitely not for the saint of heart.
No, but I can totally see myself standing on a mountaintop in New Zealand, just taking in the majesty of it all.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got romantic cityscapes, cultural immersion, adrenaline-pumping adventures, something for everyone.
Check.
But let's get real for a second. Planning a trip can sometimes feel like climbing Mount Everest itself.
Oh, absolutely. It can be super overwhelming.
Where do you even begin?
There are so many details to figure out.
So luckily, the sources you sent acknowledge this, and they offer some really practical tips to make the whole process less intimidating.
Okay, good, because I need that.
Me too.
So what's the first step?
So first and foremost, start with a budget.
Okay, that makes sense.
The sources really emphasize that travel is possible no matter your financial situation.
I love that, yeah.
So don't feel like you need to be a millionaire to see the world.
Right.
Websites like Skyscanner and Google Flights are great for finding affordable airfare.
Yeah, I use those all the time.
But here's a pro tip from one of the sources. Clear your cookies or use incognito mode when you're searching for flights.
Really?
Because apparently airlines sometimes use your browsing history to inflate prices.
Wow, that's so sneaky.
I know, right?
Okay, I'm going to have to remember that one.
Yeah, me too.
So we got flights. What about accommodations?
Okay, so for accommodations, the sources suggest thinking outside the hotel box.
Okay, interesting.
One article actually dives into the world of house sitting.
House sitting.
Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know how it works.
So basically, you get to stay in a local's home for free while they're away.
For free?
Yeah. And often you get to take care of their pets.
Oh, wow. So you get like a free place to stay and you get to hang out with some cute animals?
Sign me up.
Talk about an authentic travel experience.
That's amazing.
I know, right? I had no idea.
Okay, so we've got our flights. We've got our accommodations figured out. Now, what about the itinerary?
Okay, so one source emphasizes creating a flexible itinerary.
Okay.
More like a roadmap than like a rigid schedule.
Gotcha. So you have some structure, but you're not...
Yeah, you're not like down.
Yeah, you're not like running from thing to thing to thing.
Right.
They suggest picking like a few must-do activities, but leaving plenty of room for spontaneity.
That makes sense.
Because, as they say, some of the best travel memories come from those unexpected detours.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
I remember this one time I was in Italy, and I stumbled upon this tiny trattoria down a cobblestone street.
Ooh. Tell me more.
It wasn't on my itinerary at all.
Okay.
But it turned out to be the best meal of my entire trip.
That's the magic of travel, right?
It really is.
Those unplanned moments,
Yeah.
they often become the most memorable ones.
They really do. But even with a flexible itinerary, there's still some things you got to pack.
Or the essentials.
The essentials. And
Yeah.
all the sources talk about that.
Right.
But one source gave a tip I'd never thought of.
Okay. I'm intrigued.
Pack a small first aid kit
Oh, that's a good idea.
with like bandages, pain relievers, motion sickness meds, just in case.
Yeah, you never know when you might need a quick fix on the go.
Exactly.
And speaking of packing, one of the other sources emphasized packing a lightweight scarf or shawl, even in warm climates.
Oh, that's smart.
It could be super versatile, a head covering, a beach blanket, even an extra layer on a chilly evening.
I'm definitely guilty of overpacking.
Oh, me too.
So I love these tips about packing light.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of being resourceful, let's talk about traveling on a budget.
Okay, budget travel tips.
One of the sources assured us that exploring the world doesn't have to drain your bank account.
It's so true.
So don't let that stop you.
Yeah.
And it's packed with budget travel secrets, this article.
Okay, lay it on me.
Like it even dives deep into the world of travel hacking.
Travel hacking.
Have you ever heard of this?
I've heard of it, but I don't really know much about it.
Yeah, so it's basically using credit card rewards, points, and miles to score free flights and hotel stays.
Wow.
I know, right?
That sounds amazing, but probably really complicated.
It does require some research and strategy,
Okay.
but the payoff can be huge.
I'm definitely going to have to look into that.
Yeah, me too. I'm all about maximizing those travel perks.
Me too.
Another tip that came up a lot is traveling during the shoulder season.
The shoulder season.
So that's like those periods between peak and off season.
Okay, so not quite the most popular time to travel, but also not like the dead of winter or something.
Exactly. You often get more pleasant weather, smaller crowds, and better deals.
It's like a sweet spot.
It's like the sweet spot.
Yeah.
And when it comes to getting around, embrace public transportation.
Yes.
I love exploring cities by metro or bus. It's way cheaper than taxis, and you get a real feel for the local life.
Absolutely. And it's better for the environment.
Bonus.
Yeah.
One source even suggests looking into city tourist passes.
Oh, yeah, I've used those before.
They often bundle transportation with entry to popular attractions, and you end up saving a ton of money.
That's a great tip, especially if you're planning to do a lot of sightseeing.
Okay, so we've covered flights, accommodations, itinerary planning, packing, budget tips. Now let's get to the heart of it all.
Yes, the good stuff.
The experiences that make travel truly unforgettable.
Let's hear it.
One source really emphasizes embracing the outdoors.
Okay, let's start.
Whether it's hiking through stunning landscapes, snorkeling in crystal clear waters, or even trying something like horseback riding in the Mongolian steppe.
Ooh, Mongolia, that's on my bucket list.
Connecting with nature in a new environment is just incredibly powerful.
Oh, absolutely. I totally agree.
I remember kayaking in a bioluminescent bay in Puerto Rico.
Why?
It was like paddling through a galaxy of stars. It was just breathtaking.
That sounds magical.
It was.
Okay, but it's not all about adrenaline and landscapes, right?
Right.
We also got to talk about cultural immersion.
Yes.
Really getting under the skin of a place.
The sources suggest taking cooking classes to learn about local cuisines, visiting traditional markets, to chat with vendors, attending a local festival to experience that vibrant culture firsthand.
Those are all great ideas.
I did a calligraphy workshop in Kyoto once
Cool.
and learned about the history and artistry behind Japanese writing.
Oh,
It was way more meaningful than just buying a souvenir.
yeah, I love that.
It's about those experiences that connect you with the heart and soul of a destination.
I totally agree.
And speaking of connections,
Right.
these sources really highlight the importance of connecting with people, both locals and fellow travelers.
It's so true.
Sometimes a simple conversation
Yeah,
can open your eyes to new perspectives and create lifelong memories.
absolutely. I met some of my best friends while traveling.
Oh, me too.
It's amazing how travel can bring people together like that.
It really is.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The why of travel, dream destinations, planning essentials, budget secrets, unforgettable experiences. But there's one final piece I want to touch on.
Okay.
The impact our travels have on the world around us. That's a really important aspect of travel, isn't it?
It is. And luckily, one of the sources you sent really dives into the concept of sustainable and responsible tourism.
Yeah, making sure that we're not, just taking from the places we visit, but also giving back and leaving them better than we found them.
Exactly. And I had some great tips like choosing eco-friendly accommodations.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Supporting local businesses and respecting, the local customs and traditions.
Right, and things like reducing waste, conserving water, being mindful of wildlife.
Yeah, it's all about being a conscious traveler, right?
Exactly, being aware of our impact.
So I'm really inspired by all these sources, and I feel like they've given us so much to think about when planning our next trip.
Me too. It makes me want to grab my passport and book a flight right now.
Seriously. Okay, so to recap, we've explored why travel is so transformative. We've talked about some incredible dream destinations.
Yes.
We've tackled the nitty-gritty of planning and budgeting,
All the essentials.
and even touched on the importance of sustainable and responsible tourism.
It's like we've given our listeners a treasure map filled with inspiration and practical advice for their own journey.
A treasure map. I love that analogy.
But remember, like any good treasure map, it's up to the individual to decide which path to take and what treasures they hope to discover.
So what does this all mean for you, dear listener?
What kind of traveler do you want to be?
Do you crave adventure and adrenaline?
Or are you more drawn to cultural experiences or the beauty of nature?
The beauty of travel is that it's a journey of self-discovery. You get to define your own adventure, create your own story.
And it doesn't have to be some grand, expensive expedition either.
Right.
Sometimes the most meaningful journeys happen closer to home.
I recently rediscovered a hiking trail just a few miles from my house.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, it felt like a whole new world.
I love that.
So remember, adventure awaits whether it's across the globe or in your own backyard.
The key is to keep that spirit of exploration alive. Embrace the unknown and allow yourself to be transformed by the journey.
So go ahead, pack your bags, grab your passport, and let the adventure begin.
The world is waiting.
Yeah.
It really is about being a conscious traveler.
Being aware of our impact, and, I'm feeling so inspired by all these sources.
Me too.
It's like they've given us so much to think about
Absolutely.
when planning our next trip.
Yeah, it makes me want to just grab my passport and book a flight, right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's recap for our listeners. What have we talked about?
We've explored the reasons why travel is so transformative, right? We talked about incredible destinations.
Yes.
We tackled the nitty-gritty of planning and budgeting,
All the essentials.
and even touched on the importance of sustainable and responsible tourism.
We covered it all.
I think so.
It's like we've given our listeners a treasure app
Yes.
filled with inspiration and practical advice.
To embark on their own journey.
I love that analogy, the treasure map.
But remember, any good treasure map, it's up to the individual, to
Right.
decide which path to take and what treasures they hope to discover.
So what does this all mean for you, dear listener?
What kind of traveler do you want to be?
Do you crave adventure and adrenaline?
Do you yearn to immerse yourself in different cultures?
Are you drawn to the beauty and tranquility of nature?
There are so many possibilities.
But the beauty of travel is that it really is a journey of self-discovery. You get to define your own adventure, create your own story.
And it doesn't have to be some grand, expensive expedition.
It really doesn't.
Sometimes the most meaningful journeys happen close to home.
I recently rediscovered this hiking trail just a few miles from my house.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, it felt like a whole new world.
That's awesome.
So remember, adventure awaits, whether it's across the globe.
Or in your own backyard.
The key is to just keep that spirit of exploration alive.
Embrace the unknown. Allow yourself to be transformed by the journey.
So on that note, go ahead, pack your bags, grab your passport, and let the adventure begin.
The world is waiting.